Chapter 7, Emotional Overload. Maya's lungs burned as she sprinted down the dimly lit corridor, Nora's labored breaths echoing close behind. The alarms blaring through Dr. Emerson's laboratory had set off a chaotic scramble, with security forces closing in from all sides. Maya risked a glance over her shoulder, her heart sinking as she saw Finn still fending off the relentless onslaught. "Finn, we have to go!" she yelled, her voice barely audible over the deafening alarms. "I'll hold them off. Just get out of here." Finn shouted back, his face a mask of determination as he unleashed another volley of hacking attacks on the approaching guards. Nora's hand closed around Maya's arm, her eyes wild with a mix of fear and something else Maya couldn't quite place. "We have to go, Maya. We have to get out of here." Maya hesitated, torn between her loyalty to Finn and the need to escape with the critical data they had stolen. But one look at Nora's desperate expression made the decision for her. Gritting her teeth, Maya turned and ran, Nora in tow. The sisters burst through a pair of heavy steel doors, emerging into a cavernous warehouse filled with towering shelves loaded with emotion canisters. Maya's mind raced, searching for a way out, when Nora suddenly stumbled to her knees, her hands clutching her head. Nora, what's wrong?" Maya asked, kneeling beside her sister. Nora's breathing had grown ragged, her eyes wide and unfocused. I can't. It's too much," Nora gasped, her body shaking. Maya realized with a sinking feeling that Nora was experiencing a profound emotional overload, her senses overwhelmed by the sheer intensity of the liberated emotions surrounding them. Maya glanced around frantically, her gaze falling on a bank of computer terminals. An idea formed in her mind, and she helped Nora to her feet, half dragging her towards the terminals. "Hang on, Nora. I'm going to try something," Maya said, her fingers flying across the keyboard. She accessed the emotion distribution controls, searching for a way to create a temporary buffer for Nora. After a few tense moments, she found the appropriate settings and began adjusting the emotional intensity in their immediate vicinity. Slowly, the crush of emotions seemed to recede, and Nora's breathing began to steady. Maya watched her sister's features relax, the tension easing from her body. How did you do that?" Nora asked, her voice barely above a whisper. "I'm an emotion hacker, remember? I know a thing or two about manipulating this stuff," Maya replied, a hint of pride in her voice. "But we need to keep moving. Can you walk?" Nora nodded, pushing herself to her feet. Maya led the way, her eyes darting around the cavernous warehouse, searching for an exit. They had to find a way out of this maze before security caught up with them. As they wove between the towering shelves, Maya couldn't help but be struck by the sheer volume of emotion canisters surrounding them. Each one contained a carefully extracted and preserved human experience, reduced to a tangible commodity. The magnitude of the emotion trade's reach was truly staggering. Nora seemed to sense Maya's unease, her own expression growing somber. "I never realized the scale of it all," she murmured, her gaze sweeping across the vast warehouse. "All this time, I've been part of this system, without understanding the true cost." Maya reached out and squeezed her sister's hand, offering a silent gesture of understanding. Nora had been trapped in a gilded cage, her wealth and privilege blinding her to the emotional deprivation of the masses. But now, with the veil lifted, Maya could see the growing horror and guilt in Nora's eyes. A sudden movement in the shadows ahead snapped Maya back to the present danger. "We've got company," she whispered, pulling Nora behind a row of shelves. They crouched low, listening intently as the sound of booted feet and the chatter of radios grew steadily closer. Maya's mind raced, searching for a way to evade the security forces. She scanned the area, her gaze landing on a small access hatch set into the wall a few meters away. Silently, she gestured to Nora, and the two sisters darted across the open space, slipping through the hatch and into a dimly lit maintenance corridor. They moved quickly, the sound of their pursuers fading behind them. Maya led the way, her senses on high alert for any sign of danger. As they rounded a corner, she caught sight of a set of stairs leading upwards. "This way," she whispered, ushering Nora towards the stairwell. They climbed quickly, emerging onto a catwalk that overlooked the vast warehouse. Maya paused, taking a moment to catch her breath and survey their surroundings. Nora stood beside her, her gaze fixed on the rows of emotion canisters below. "All this time, I've been collecting and hoarding these," These fragments of human experience, she said, her voice heavy with remorse. And for what? To feel something, anything, that I couldn't find within myself. Maya placed a hand on her sister's shoulder, offering a sympathetic nod. It's not your fault, Nora. You were trapped in a system that valued the commodification of emotions over their true human essence. But now you see the truth. Nora turned to her, her eyes shining with unshed tears. I want to make this right, Maya. I want to help you stop this madness, to liberate these emotions and give them back to the people. Maya felt a surge of hope at her sister's words. Then let's do it, she said, a determined glint in her eyes. We've got a revolution to start. The sisters moved with renewed purpose, scouring the catwalk for a way to access the central distribution hub. Maya knew that if they could hack into the system and release the emotions, it would disrupt Dr. Emerson's stranglehold on the city's emotional landscape. As they neared the hub's control room, a familiar voice echoed through the warehouse. Well, I should have known you two wouldn't make it this far. Maya whirled around, her heart sinking as she caught sight of Dr. Emerson, flanked by a squad of heavily armed security guards. The man's thin lips curled into a cruel smile as he regarded the sisters. You've been a thorn in my side for far too long, Maya. And now, with your little sister's help, you think you can bring down my empire? He let out a condescending laugh. I'm afraid that's not going to happen. Maya stepped in front of Nora, her stance defiant. It's over, Emerson. We've uncovered your conspiracy, and we're going to expose the truth to the entire city. Dr. Emerson's expression darkened, his eyes narrowing. I'm afraid you won't be around to see that happen. He raised his hand, signaling the guards to open fire. Maya and Nora ducked behind the catwalk railing as a hail of bullets rained down upon them. Maya searched frantically for a way to escape, her mind racing. She couldn't let Emerson win, not after they had come this far. Nora's voice, shaky but determined, cut through the chaos. Maya, I've got an idea. Follow me. The sisters sprinted across the catwalk, narrowly dodging the security force's barrage. Nora led the way, her footsteps pounding against the metal grating as they made their way towards the central distribution hub. Maya couldn't help but feel a surge of pride at her sister's newfound resolve. Nora, the once aloof and privileged emotion collector, had been transformed by the experience. Now she was a willing, if untested, ally in the fight to liberate the city's emotions. As they reached the hub's entrance, Nora paused, her hand hovering over the access panel. Maya, I need you to trust me. Can you do that? Maya searched her sister's eyes, finding a steely determination there that she had never seen before. Yes, Nora, I trust you. Nora nodded, her fingers flying across the panel. The doors slid open, and the sisters rushed inside, sealing the entrance behind them. The control room was a maze of blinking lights and humming consoles, the air thick with the scent of ozone. Maya scanned the array of monitors, her eyes widening as she took in the sheer scale of the emotion distribution network. Nora, what's the plan? She asked, her voice laced with urgency. Nora took a deep breath, her gaze fixed on the central console. I'm going to open the floodgates, Maya. I'm going to release all of these emotions back to the people. Maya stared at her sister, momentarily stunned by the audacity of the plan. But won't that overwhelm the entire city? The people aren't prepared for that kind of emotional deluge. Nora turned to her, a resolute expression on her face. Maybe not, but it's a risk we have to take. We have to disrupt Emerson's control, and this is the best way to do it. Maya knew Nora was right. They had come too far to turn back now, and the stakes were too high. With a nod, she moved to Nora's side, her fingers flying across the keyboard as she began to override the system's security protocols. All right, let's do this. But we need to make sure we have a way out of here once the emotions start flowing. Can you rig up a distraction? Nora's lips curled into a determined smile. Consider it done. The sisters worked in tandem, their skills combining to bypass the network's defenses. Maya could feel the adrenaline surging through her veins as they neared the final barriers, the weight of their mission pressing down upon them. With a final keystroke, Nora triggered the release of the emotions, and the world seemed to hold its breath. For a moment, nothing happened, and Maya feared they had failed. But then, a powerful wave of energy coursed through the distribution hub, sending shockwaves rippling outward. Maya and Nora braced themselves as the emotional maelstrom swept over them, the intensity of the liberated feelings threatening to overwhelm their senses. Maya could feel tears streaming down her face, her heart pounding with a mix of exhilaration and fear. Suddenly, a series of detonations shook the building, smoke billowing from strategic locations around the perimeter. Maya grabbed Nora's hand, her eyes wide with alarm. "That's our cue. Let's get out of here." The sisters raced towards the exit, their path illuminated by the flashing emergency lights. Maya could hear the panicked shouts of security forces as they scrambled to contain the chaos, their efforts futile in the face of the emotional onslaught. As they burst out into the warehouse, Maya could feel the air crackling with the weight of the unbridled emotions. Across the vast space, people were collapsing to their knees, their bodies racked with sobs or laughter, the full spectrum of human experience laid bare. Maya tugged on Nora's hand, urging her forward. "Come on, we need to get to the rendezvous point. Finn should be waiting for us." Nora nodded, her eyes wide with a mixture of wonder and trepidation. "I've never felt anything like this," she whispered, her voice tinged with awe. Maya offered her a reassuring smile. "Welcome to the real world, Nora. Now let's go shake it up." The sisters fled the crumbling edifice of Dr. Shaw, Emerson's empire, their hearts filled with a newfound purpose to heal the emotional divide that had ravaged their city for far too long.